Ladies and gentlemen, if there is a topic or a title that I love discussing about, is a title that is involving Jamaicans with Africans. I can go whole day talking about this, ladies and gentlemen, without getting tired. Actually, I do not even need any reused copy to make my point out, ladies and gentlemen. And I've come to realize there's a deep connections between the Jamaicans and the Igbo people of the southeastern Nigeria. Okay, they are called the beat of the Biafra. Okay, and it is estimated by the historians. It is estimated by the historians that up to 40% of the Jamaicans, okay, up to 40% of the Jamaicans, they have, the Igbo blood. They have the Igbo DNA. Okay, and we in this internet space we have different opinions. Okay, they do not criticize. We say they have different opinions. Okay, some people believe and say that Jamaicans are not from Africa, but the funny thing is, the Afro-Jamaicans, their DNA is still taking them back to Africa. It is still taking them back to West Africa and Central Africa. It is still taking them back to the Nigerian people. It is still taking them back to the Ghana people. It is still taking them back to the Congo people. It is still taking them back to the Sierra Leone. Ladies and gentlemen, and there are so many things. There are so many things that even among the Jamaicans, you can use to trace them back to the Igbo people of the southeastern, of the modern day southeastern of the Nigerians. Famously known as the beat of the Biafra. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the word uno. The word uno is used by the Jamaicans. The word uno is used by the Jamaicans. It's a very common word among the Jamaicans. Yeah, you see me, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah? Look at even the modern. Look at even how Jamaicans are so much connected to the family structures, just like the way the Igbo people are. Look at even how they believe in the ancestral spirits, customs and belief of the ancestral spirits, among the Jamaicans. It's the same thing even with the Igbo people. Let me tell you something interesting about the Igbo people and why they are so similar to the Jamaicans. Jamaicans are so defiant to slavery. Jamaicans are so defiant to slavery, and they are also so interested to justice. Okay, the same character is found among the Igbo people in the 19th century. If I can take you back again, okay, do you know these Igbo people? These guys were so defiant to slavery. They were so rebellious to slavery, such that they were ready to commit mass suicide rather than remain in slavery. That's how strong these guys were. They would rather commit suicide. They would rather kill themselves, ladies and gentlemen, than remain there in slavery. They were ready. They were ready, ladies and gentlemen. So it was very hard. The guys who are slaving them, find it so hard to enslave the Igbo people of the Nigerians. That's why they are very strong. That's why they have that's why Jamaicans and Nigerians, these guys can survive in any part of this world. You will throw a Nigerian in a Namib desert. Trust me, they will still come out alive. You will throw a Jamaican in Namib desert, they will still come out alive. They are very tolerant. They are very tolerant, and they are ready to rebel against any form of injustice. They are ready. Any form of injustice, they are ready to rebel, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, maybe in this today's age, maybe times have changed, or maybe things have changed. I'm talking about in the olden days, ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the similarities, between the Nigerians of the Igbo people and Jamaicans, it's so wide. It is so wide, ladies and gentlemen, ranging from food. Look at the food alone. Okay, look at okra. Yeah, look at Jamaicans. Jamaicans have rice and peas, while Nigerians have jollof rice. Okay, the Nigerians love yams so much and pepper soup. Jamaicans also love yam and pepper soup. Okay, even the fish how they prepare fish is almost in the same way, ladies and gentlemen. Jamaicans, how they celebrate festivals with drums. Okay, it's the same way. Also, Nigerians also do the same way. Folk telling stories and use of proverbial and belief in the ancestral spirits, among the Jamaican people is almost similar to the Nigerian people, ladies and gentlemen. Both of these two countries, they are very dominant in diaspora. Okay, you will always see their flags. They fly their flags very high in diaspora. You can never miss. That's why I always say they are very, they are very, they have an identity. Yes, they don't miss out with their identity. They have an identity. You can always see a Nigerian. You cannot miss out on a Nigerian. You'll always know a Nigerian right away. This is a Nigerian. Based on how they talk, how they behave, how they are very confident. This is a Nigerian. Even here in Kenya, there are a lot of Nigerians. You can always spot a Nigerian from very far. It's the same way with Jamaicans. You can spot Jamaicans from very far. They don't change. Even their accent, they don't. Ladies and gentlemen, they are very true to their heritage. And that's a beautiful thing. That's a nice thing, ladies and gentlemen. People who are true to their heritage, people who don't change who they are, even if they go to diaspora, you can always tell this is a Jamaican, this is a Nigerian, just based on how they talk, their accent. Okay, that's another thing that I find so similar to between Nigerians and Jamaicans. Then you have the music, the Afrobeat. There's a lot of fusion between the Afrobeat and Jamaican music. There has been a lot of collaborations between, let's say Burna Boy and Popcorn and Jamaican musicians. Ladies and gentlemen, you see that fusion, it brings out something that is so amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you, I love discussing about African stories. I love discussing about African relationship, and Jamaican relationship. This is one of my most favorite topic. Someone has just told me that I'm exaggerating facts when I said that Nigerians and Jamaicans are very tolerant to any place that you might put them. Yes. Nigerians are very tolerant to even harsh climatic conditions. Okay, that's why you see most of them, they will migrate from one area to another, even in a desert, in the back of the desert, and they will still survive. Ladies and gentlemen, can you play around with such a people? Can you imagine someone is walking, across the deserts, moving from one country to another, barefooted? Or even footed, ladies and gentlemen, and they still survive. These guys are very decisive. These guys are very tolerant and very, tolerant and very strong. It's the same way with Jamaicans. That's why when you go to any part of this world, you will still find them. You can't miss them, ladies and gentlemen. That's why they are very dominant in whatever fields that they put their mind and soul to, whether it's music, whether it's acting, whether it's religion, whether it's sports. They are there. You can't miss either of the two. So my statement is right in either way. That's why these master slavers, they find it very hard to enslave these people or these communities. Ladies and gentlemen, why do you think Jamaicans love visiting Nigeria so much? They love visiting Nigerians so much. Why do you think we have the Nyambingi festivals in Jamaica? Why do you think we have Nyambingi festivals in Jamaica? Why do you think that Nigerians and Jamaicans visit each other quite often? There is connection. There is, blood connections between these two. The blood is pulling each other. Someone was also talking about, ladies and gentlemen, out of all this that I have discussed, one of my most favorite part is how Jamaicans and Nigerians complement each other. Is how Nigerians and Jamaicans remain true to their identity It doesn't matter where they go to. Okay, it doesn't matter which culture they are exposed to. The way these guys stay true to themselves is really magical, ladies and gentlemen. That's why you can never miss out a Nigerian when you spot one. You can never miss out a Jamaican when you spot one. Okay, even their dressing code. Look at the Nigerians, for instance, the Ankara. Nigerians will put on an Ankara even if they have stayed in the US for more than 20 years. They will still put on their Ankara. They will still dress up like a Nigerian. They will still speak up like a Nigerian, ladies and gentlemen. Likewise, the Jamaicans. Okay, Jamaicans will, they will be true to themselves. Their accent, how they carry themselves, their confidence, their assertiveness, ladies and gentlemen. They still maintain who they are as persons. You will meet a Rastafarian. You will meet a Rastafarian who has lived in the US for more than 30 years. For more than 30 years, and they will still speak like a Jamaican. They will still dress up like a Rastafarian. Okay? They don't change who they are. That's what and I believe I find this to be so amazing, ladies and gentlemen. And another thing is, these guys have visited each other for more than 20 years. These guys have been visiting each other. Even before YouTube, Nigerians and Jamaicans have been visiting each other. Yes, for some of us Kenyans, we have grown up listening to Jamaican music. Myself, I've grown up listening to Jamaican music, a lot of it. Reggae and roots, those days of Elephant Man before Vibes Cartel, those days of Buju Banton, ladies and gentlemen. We have grown up listening to dancehall, then reggae. But, when it comes to visiting, it's a little bit too far. But for Nigerians and Jamaicans, they have been visiting each other. It's not like us. Anyway, I don't want to go so much. Thank you so much for watching my videos up to this point. And before I forget, someone was mentioning about Obia. I'm not sure if Jamaicans still practice Obia. It's a practice that was taken from the Yoruba and the people of West Africa. I'm not sure if it's nowadays. We are living in the age of internet, and a lot of people nowadays are really educated. I don't know if people still practice it. I'm not sure. Do people still practice Obia, ladies and gentlemen? But either way, thank you so much for watching my videos up to this point, and subscribe and watch this video, share this video far and wide. And yes, Jamaicans and Nigerians visit each other. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, and of course we have us. Some of us are very genuine, okay? And of course, some of us have lately discovered Jamaica, and now everyone wants to go and visit Jamaica. Okay, some of us have been listening to Jamaican music, reggae music for a very long time, for over 10 years. The days of Chaka Demas, the days of Elephant Man, before Cartel, there was Chaka Demas, before Cartel there was Elephant Man, before Cartel there was Yellow Man. Ladies and gentlemen, all those guys, we have been listening to all those guys. Even Shaggy is also, he has also been on this game for a very long time. The first tune, Mr. Lover, I listened in 1996 when I was around, I don't know, I was very young during those days. Okay, but visiting, we have not visited Jamaica, and I hope that someday, one way or the other, we'll visit Jamaica, ladies and gentlemen. But when it comes to Nigerians, these guys have been visiting each other for more than 20 years. Before even YouTube, they have been visiting each other. Anyway, thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching my videos up to this point. And of course, share this video far and wide, and subscribe. Until we meet again.